ancestors say they're aware of the importance and the value that we have brought into the lives of the people that we have had an opportunity to interact and interface with. It's a shame that it took our absence to do it. But it go both ways. The ancestors are also aware of the people who brought importance and value into our lives. It's a shame it took our absence or their absence to make us realize it, because it do go both ways. You hear me? It do go both ways. Um, and I share that to say this: we all have some learning to do. So if you're here, especially if you're here, present with me in this moment, you had to be one of those ones who got deep into yourself, while those of us, or while others of us chose to stay in the shallow parts of the pool or the shallow ends of the pool. You know how you got a pool, you know, and you got a shallow end, you know, 2, 3 feet. I think it starts somewhere around there, 3, 4 feet, somewhere around there. Then as you go further off into the pool, you know, it gets deeper and deeper. If you're walking it out, you notice that dip. You get so far, probably about 5 feet, then you start feeling that dip when you get into the 6 feet section. You know, your feet start slipping from up under you as you're going into, 8, and depending on how the depth of the pool. But y'all walking with me. You know, some chose to stay on the shallow end of the pool. You know, while those of us chose to go into the deeper, more shadowy parts of the water. Because as you're going from the shallow end to the deeper end, you can see through the water, and the deeper you go, the more hard it is to see through the water. If you know, you know. I said that to say this. At least with us out the way, you know, or at least with them out our way, hopefully we all can see ourselves a little bit more clear now. As the song goes, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. You hear me? Oseo to my enemies. Shalom, peace, hotel, salam alaikum, namaste, mahalo, man, and all them other good greens. I hope everybody feeling good for no reason at all, already and vibrating, being the highest emanation, of frequency in the resonance of yourself, you know. The past cannot be changed and the future cannot be controlled. So the best thing that we could do is seize this opportunity that we call right now, because that's where all our power at. Our power is in right now, and how we use it does matter. How we use it does matter. Family, there's so much going on. Shifts are always occurring. And just to think of shifts and the things that's going on, because for some reason or other, I still went through with it, but I felt so off or disoriented. The last time I appeared by way of video, and I couldn't really put my hands on it at the time, But what's beautiful about this journey is wherever we at on our journey. So we might be the only one where we at on our journey in reference to our relationship with ourselves, because we can we can know others as we know ourselves, but we can never know others as we know ourselves. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. But the beautiful thing about that is that you know, we get to grade ourselves on the way, and not in comparison to nobody else journey, but uh, but in in resonance, you know, with those who find themselves in the same spaces on their journey that we find ourselves, and that's what make it beautiful, because we always have something to share, or or there is someone out there who has something to share with us, that's reflective, and uh, that's mirroring our journey, you know, from all angles, you know. But a shift is, I said that to say this, a shift is only real once it reach our routine. A shift is only real once it reach our routine. So, in other words, we can go through many shifts, but until the lessons of the shifts, you know, uh, become become routine, until the insights of the shift become routine, until what the shifts have made themselves uh, present for in our lives become applicable in our lives. It's just a shift that has occurred, because a shift is only real once it reach our routine or become a part of our lives. And I shared that to say everything happened for a reason, you know, and we hear that all the time. Everything happened for a reason. Everything happened for a reason, but then do we be able to extract the lessons behind the reasons that things happen? Because it's easy to say everything happened for a reason. It's another thing how we handle the things that happen, you know, to to get the reason that it happened in the first place, about whatever happened. So everything happened for a reason, but at the same time, you know, everything that happened for a reason may not happen in the time that we think it could, you know, or that we think it should. But how do we handle ourselves in those instances? You know, do we stand do we stand ten toes down and patience? You know, do we know how to be still and and wait? You know, or do we go out our way to get in our way? You know, do we know how to wait without doubt? Do we know how to wait without doubt? Or do we try to find the answer in the time that the answer not present to be found? And if you have ever did that, you have you know what it means to get in your own way. You know, I said that to say I don't care what we go through. You know, everybody going through something, somewhere, somehow. You know, and that's part of life. That's what life is for. You know, um, for us to go through it, so we can learn how to live. You know, and then we can make up our mind: do we want to live or do we want to exist? Because it's a difference. Um, life is life, and living is learning. And not only is life and living is learning, but living is learning that life is always changing, and that's life changing. And somebody gonna need to catch that, because if not, those who don't catch it, and I'm gonna repeat it: life is life, and living is learning. that life is always changing, and that's life changing. So allow your experiences. May we allow our experiences to teach us how to live. Because we don't know it all to have learned yet. You know, we don't know it all to have learned yet. And although uh, living is learning that life is life changing, everything won't be perfect. And don't expect it to. Just be real in your experiences. Just be real about your experiences. You know, and most of us, and none of us, ain't perfect. No matter how much we may pretend to be. You know, um, but everything won't be perfect. And most of us was used to fighting ourselves to allow ourselves to show us our own imperfections. A lot of us was too used to fighting ourselves to allow ourselves to show us our own imperfections because we get in our own way. Nobody can't tell us nothing. So forth and so on. And that's the same reason that most people can't stand their own shadow. Most people can't stand their own reflection. Most people can't stand their own projections, so they're projected on others. How do I know? Because I was one of most people before. I was one of most people before, you know. Um, and it take brutal honesty, you know, to it take brutal honesty to see yourself in the collective, to even express yourself as an individual. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. So I ain't here to be understood, you know, because my peace is in being undisturbed. So we have to go, we have to, for those who made a choice to be free, you're gonna go into them places that most won't. You know, you're gonna go into them places that people that this won't go, will not go. You know, um, for no reason at all. Even if you gave them one. But we're going to those places to reclaim the parts of ourselves, you know, that life, rather in this timeline or other, may have disconnected us from. So we go into ourselves and do the shadow work and do the self work and put ourselves under the spotlights and the magnifying glasses, you know, to do to do what's necessary to see ourselves as necessary, so we can do what's necessary, you know, on ourselves, you know. So it's a beautiful thing, you know, and ripping ourselves apart to put ourselves back together, to be able to align with love, align with peace, you know, align with purpose, align with joy, align with healing, align with power daily and consistently, you know, and persistently until it become a good habit, you know, message, until it become a good habit. You know, we gotta do the things We gotta do the things that's uncomfortable because we're not used to doing it in our lives. That's beneficial for our lives until it become a good habit. Because mo- we most of us probably come from a different backdrop. You know, we used to a whole bunch of unhealthiness. We used to a whole bunch of toxicity. We used to a whole bunch of dysfunction. You know, at least I'm gonna speak for myself and you know, and those that come, you know, that resonate with 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 what what I come from to get to where we are today. Cause we not today. We're not today where we started from. Not if you here. If you're here, you're not where you started from today. You know. Thank and you can give thanks to whoever you need to give thanks to for that. You hear me? So, you know, align with love, align with peace, align with joy, align with purpose, align with abundance, align with goodness, feeling good for no reason at all. Align with peace, align with power, align with abundance, align with healing, align with prosperity. You know, align with the higher qualities of life. You know, until it become a good habit. You know, so when the storms blow, your presence in the presence will remain strong wherever you find yourself. You know, and your energy will bring healing to all who find you as you find yourself. Yeah, because that's what it's all about. You hear me? And be be mindful of the conversations that you have with yourself. You see, we gotta we gotta we gotta be very on top of ourselves at this moment in time because we don't create it so much space for ourselves that we in a space where it really ain't no road map. We ran out of map now, so everything that we doing now, you know, it ain't no instructions. It's, you know, so some of us in a space that we ain't got no choice but to trust. So it's trust spirit, trust the ancestors, you know, trust our spirit guides, our angels, or AKA angels, you know, as they prompt and as they guide us, you know, and 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 as they 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 urge and signaling, try to give us glimpses and so forth and so on. You know, if you know, you know, you know, yeah. Pay attention to ourselves through intention, through in, through intention with ourselves. You know, be be mindful of conversations that we having with ourselves that consist of lack and limitation. You know, that's that's part of the that's part of the old version. That's part of the old construct. You know, and till we do it again. Be you how you be you. I'm known as Sawu. If you ain't hit that like button, you already know what to do. You hear me? You ain't shared the video, you already know what to do. You hear me? If you got something on your mind, you already know what to do. You know, it's a comment section for a reason. If you got a question, it's a comment section for a reason. You heard? Put it to use. Otherwise, man, I appreciate y'all for all y'all do. Um, but any information that you may need is in the description part of the video. Until we do it again. Once again, I'm known as I will be you how you be you. Peace and love. BCU, Cosmic Conscious Family and Soul Tribe. I love y'all. Till we do it again. Peace.